Okay, so this here is going to be a video where I'm going to break down some things about some inventory management for all those new bros out there who may not know exactly what they're doing with their stuff and just throwing it around all willy-nilly, or worse yet, just throwing random crap in their bank, not knowing what all they're going to do with it. So that being said, I'm just going to jump right on in and I'm going to talk a little bit about some tools and things that I use. And I'm going to be annotating on the screen and talking you through what I'm doing step by step. And then towards the end, I'm going to just pull back my video and replay it from the beginning so that you can see what I'm doing at the speed that I'm actually doing it. And you'll realize really fast that this can be done on the fly while you're doing things. There's no need to actually come back to a bank like I have. I'm just here doing it for the purposes of this video. So with that, I'm going to get started. So here I am on my Thief. I've gone and filled up my inventory, done some stuff, and gotten all loaded up with all sorts of stuff for the purposes of this video. So I'm going to stop it right here, and I'm going to point out some things, some tools of the trade, you might call them, things that I have to make this easier and explain why I do it the way that I do it. The first thing I'm going to talk about is my salvage kits. So I have in my inventory the copper-fed and the silver-fed salvage-o-matics. They're awesome. They're exactly what they sound like. They're salvage kits that cost money rather than having a finite number of uses. So I can use them all day long so long as I have money. The copper one costs copper and the silver one costs silver. They are about the equivalent of a basic salvage kit for the silver or for the copper fed salvage-o-matic and a master salvage kit for the silver fed salvage-o-matic. It is, in my opinion, that these are the only two purchasable salvage kits that you will ever use. The reason why being all about cost effectiveness. So it'll make a little bit more sense here when I actually start breaking things down. But for right now, just understand that if you only use the basic salvage kit to salvage things that are masterwork, that is the things with the green outline on them and below, so that would be green, blue, and no border at all, you will make more money off of the materials that you will salvage from those items than you will lose from either buying your salvage kits or using your copper-fed salvage-o-matic. And then the same thing goes for the master salvaging kit or the silver fed salvage-o-matic if you salvage things that are rare or better. And there's the reason why you want to do that is for delicious ectoplasm, which costs a ton of money on the market and is how you get rich. One thing that I didn't mention in my salvage kits is I also have right here a Black Lion salvage kit. I only use this on exotic equipment that I know for a fact that has a rune or a sigil in it that I want. The reason for this could be all sorts of things, from the fact that that rune or sigil is something expensive, or it could be that I want it to put it on gear, whatever, it doesn't matter. I only use this for those, and that is because the runes and things like that, runes and sigils, are going to be exotic off of that equipment as well. Alright, after that you see that I have these items right here. I want to touch on them real quick, and I'll touch on two of them again later in this video. These are Princess and Maudry 2. Princess and Maudry 2 will actually eat some of your materials and give you more gear back, and I'll show you this later in the video. The third thing I'm not going to really touch on too much because it's really for like really late game people or people who have so much money to throw around that they just have nothing better to do with high level equipment than to throw it into the Mystic Forge. Just understand that this thing right here lets me throw things into the Mystic Forge from anywhere in the world. Alright, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and talk about my actual inventory and the way that it's set up, because it's set up to hopefully be a little bit more effective in the way that I sort my items. You can see over here that I have my ArenaNet given shared inventory spaces. This is where I put things like my tools, boosters, all that kind of good stuff, some keys that I use when I'm exploring the world. And then I have my invisible pack. This I use when I'm out running around in the world and I find things that I don't necessarily want to open, like these boxes and bags right here. I don't like opening them because if you do, you're actually filling up your inventory quicker than you need to. You can let these things stack up. That way you can just open them all later, and it saves space because some of these things contain up to like 4 items in them. So you can see the difference between having 1 item in your inventory and 4 items in your inventory. Just lets you stack stuff up for longer. Then I have my normal backpack just for random shiggles that I pick up. Then I have a Fractal exotic equipment box. I use this simply so that I can know when I pick up an exotic. It's kind of a pet peeve. You could probably just throw another random equipment box in there, but I don't know. I like seeing my exotic stuff sitting out by itself. It's just me. I don't like it getting mixed in. It's whatever. Then I have equipment boxes. Basically, anytime you pick up a piece of equipment off of the ground, it'll automatically go straight to this box. This box doesn't filter, but it will sell things. So, like, you can sell things out of this, and you can salvage things out of this. Then I have my craftsman's bag and my oiled sack. Now, my craftsman's bag right here, I like having it because when I'm salvaging things, I don't like the materials that I salvage to just randomly go into other bags, like my starter backpack or my invisible bag. And what this does is it makes it to where those materials will automatically go in there, and I just make sure that I deposit all my stuff every once in a while. More on that in a minute. And it just keeps my inventory nice and clean while I'm doing this. And then the oil pack is the same thing, but for junk. Now, junk is a bit of a weird situation, and I'll touch on this later as well, but junk is worthless, but it's worth something. So I'll explain that in more detail when I actually get there, because I actually plan on talking about that in specific. Alright, so that's my inventory. That's why I do it. I just don't like my stuff going into my inventory willy-nilly. It just sorts it for me, and it's great. Alright, so now let's actually talk about what you're all here for. Me breaking down my equipment and managing the things that are actually in my inventory. So the first thing that I want to talk about here is the options gear up here in the corner. And you'll see me click on it here. Right off the bat, the first thing I'm going to do is go in here and deposit all materials and then compact. Now, what that did, in case you didn't see it, is it took all of the materials that I already have and put them into a special spot in your bank made specifically for materials. I think it starts off holding like 300 things, but you can expand this through the gem store, and it gets huge. I think it gets upwards of holding like 1,500 or something like that. It's monstrous. So it's awesome. You can do this from anywhere in the world, and I highly recommend doing it all the time. The compact button will take any loose items that you have and squish them together and take out all the empty spaces in between them. Just makes your stuff look a little bit neater. That button's not so much important, but it's nice. Alright, so continuing on here. Now, the way I like to salvage my stuff, okay? So I always, like I said, with my Copperfed Salvage-O-Matic or your basic salvage kit, salvage masterwork and lower, okay? The reason why you do this is because any of the other salvage kits will... The only thing they do is give you better chances of getting, quote, better materials and getting any rune or sigil that you have inside of these. Now, the thing about the, quote, better materials is there's only better materials in rare and exotic gear, and that's ectoplasm. And dark matter, but I kind of lump them all into the same thing. But the thing is with everything masterwork and lower, there's nothing better for you to get. Occasionally you can get more of the lame stuff, but there's just nothing better in it. So it really doesn't make sense to buy these like fine salvage kits and these journeyman salvage kits, because you're just spending more money for a small return on things that don't actually return. So that's why I do it like that. So here I go. I'm going to salvage all of this, and then you'll see me go in here and I'm going to salvage. Now I'm going to do all the rares, and you'll see me actually get some ectoplasm right here. It's all nice and good. Here I go. Now I deposited once again because my craftsman's bag was starting to get full, so I went ahead and I deposited all of those materials. Then I compacted what I could. Now you notice that a lot of things didn't compact. That's because things like your craftsman's bag, your equipment boxes, and your invisible packs don't sort. So because of this, they won't move. But it's okay here, and doesn't really matter. Most of the things that are in there are going to go away soon anyways. So with that, let's talk about like selling. Alright, because obviously all of these things have to go somewhere or else you're not benefiting from this. So when you sell things, it is what I do is I sell all of my mats, but I do them in bulk. I like to wait until I have a ton of materials. That's why you just see me depositing everything, is because I just stack it up in my bank and then I sell it all at once. Okay. The only exception to this are runes and junk. Okay, so runes are weird. So when I say that they're weird, exotics and rares can sell. Exotics are worth a lot of money. Rares are worth like some silver. It's not that much. But it's nice. It's better than nothing. It's better than just throwing it away. The green runes, with very, very few exceptions, are nearly worthless. When you go and you try to sell them on the market, they actually, most of them won't sell at all. What I like to do is I like to just let them stack up in my inventory, and then I'll sell them to a vendor, to an NPC. Okay? And if it was a dire situation, you could probably just destroy these and you're not really losing that much profit. However, if you look over here, some of these things are kind of worth money. Like this one's 32 copper and I have 2 of them. So it's going to stack up. You know, that's 16 copper that these things are will stack up eventually and become silver, which will become gold. So every little bit helps. But like I said, if you're like out in the middle of nowhere and you need the inventory space, go ahead and trash these things. Alright. Now, junk. Junk is interesting. Junk is the most worthless, worthwhile stuff in this game. Junk has no purpose at all other than clogging up your inventory. However, junk can be sold to these vendors. Now the thing about junk is some junk is actually worth quite a bit of money. For instance, I think that these baubles right here might be worth like 32 silver. But a great example is with the Lunar New Year going on, there are golden lunar roosters running around that are junk, but they're worth like a couple of gold apiece. So it doesn't really hurt to just like let your junk stack up in your inventory and then just walk up here and look, they have a sell junk button. So it's not even like you have to spend time clicking on it in your inventory. You just kind of hit this button and boom, everything goes away and you're happy you made some more money and it's great. It's out of your inventory. There's literally no downside to it. So with that being said, there I am opening up all these boxes and bags that I have, and you can see me getting these other things. Now, let's talk about these right here. You notice that I started to click on these for a little while, and then I stopped. Alright, that's because these types of bags right here are kind of controversial. So there's two mindsets, okay? On one hand, you have the people who believe that you want to open these things because occasionally when you open these things, you're going to get really rare materials, and those really rare materials are going to be worth quite a bit of money. However, there's the other hand where they believe that you just want to sell these bags as they are. The reason being that you don't know how many bags it will take for you to get those rare materials. If you sell just the bag, you know you're getting a return. But if you open them, you could potentially be getting less out of it than you would if you were just selling them. I personally like just selling the bag, but you're equipped with the tools. You know what the risks are. If you like playing the lottery, you go to town, you open it up, and I wish all the luck to you. Alright, so here I go, still opening these things, and it's pretty much going to break down to me going through opening all these things and repeating this process constantly. And like I said, you can do this while you're out doing stuff. I stop mid-fight and just like stand there and auto attack while I'm going through my inventory. It's a doable thing. So that being said, I've covered pretty much everything. For those of you who want to just like watch this real time, watch it go, I'm actually going to let this video play and you can see me actually break this thing down and keep doing my entire inventory. If you have any questions, I'm probably posting this on YouTube, so you can comment on it and I'll do my best. Otherwise, you're probably one of my bros watching it because I was busy or something and couldn't actually sit down and talk to you about it. So if you have any questions, you can just hit me up. And yeah. That's what I got. Alright guys, so that's all I got. Like I said, if anybody's got any questions, let me know. And if you like this, also let me know. And if you don't, I'm sorry. But with that, y'all have a good one. Goodbye.